is my body so angry? Like, I'm gonna be real with you, I was actually cussing myself out in the car. And so I'm like, why are you doing this? You're doing so good in your financial, in your finances, in your career, you're advancing, and now you're gonna stop that. But here I am, because like I'm here to just go to the next level. Come on. My topic is authority, and when I got that, I was like, oh, okay, because a lot of you don't know me, and so I'm a pastor's kid, and I come from a background where it was all about whatever happens is because it was God's will. It has nothing to do with authority.
Wow.
And so part of it is also how Satan attacks me sometimes is because my mom had cancer. And so because of the fact that she passed away, Satan gets to me like, are you sure it's not just about God's will? You know, sometimes like things happen and it has nothing to do with you praying it away or believing or whatnot. But ever since, so after she passed away, I was kind of just like, why are we been praying? And I never stopped loving God. I never stopped believing. And I'm just like, we don't need to pray because whatever He wants to happen will happen. And then fast forward, I come here to C3, and Pastor Jurgen is all about authority and alignment with God and His Word. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I've been believing the wrong thing. So I have not been walking in authority until I came here. So that's a little background. So I'm going to read Matthew, and forgive me because I write very small. And when I wrote this, I was up here, and now it's like I can't see it. So I'm not trying to not make eye contact. I just can't see what I'm writing. So Matthew 16, 13 to 17. It talks about Jesus telling Peter about giving him the keys to the kingdom of heaven, and whatever we bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever we loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And so, first of all, it was like he was asking, who am I to you? Who do you say I am? Which is very important. So, how do we actually see Him? I know that we all came to accept Jesus as our Savior, but how do we really see Him? Because sometimes, even though we have accepted Him as our Savior, we're going to die, we're going to go to heaven, right? But here on earth, sometimes we see Him as an unfair judge, right? Where why are they advancing and I'm doing exactly what they're doing and I'm still here, right? And also, is He like a spiritual Santa where if I'm not doing great, then I get colds, I get sick, I get so all these debts, or anything happens to me that I will have to like be in debt or sometimes guilt or anxiety. Why can't I cast this away? Or also, if we're good, then we get the good things, right? Or maybe He's a faraway God, only looking at the bigger picture, like the tragedy in Beirut, and not pay attention to the little details, like little us in a first world country, right?
Wow.
And so one of the things is He? For me, it's like, is He our Father? Because that's the greatest relationship, right? He's our Father, a good Father, who just happens to be the creator of the world.
Wow.
So, when we accept Christ as our Lord and Savior, so in Romans 8:17, the Passion Translation says, since we are the true children, we qualify to share all His treasures, for indeed we are the heirs of God Himself. And since we are joined to Christ, we also inherit all that He is and all that He has. And so what does He have? He has the keys of heaven's kingdom realm. In verse 19, He says, I will give you the keys of heaven's kingdom realm to forbid on earth that is which is forbidden in heaven, and to release on earth that which is released in heaven. So then what does this mean? So what happened, and I haven't shared this with anyone here except for my coworkers because they were there when it happened to me. On Monday night, I was at work. I'm a nurse at Reading Children's Hospital, and I work night shift, so 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And around 7:10, I was getting a report from the day shift nurse, and I started having chest pains. And so I was getting to the point where it was very painful, which then I was controlling my breathing so that my breathing was shallow so it wouldn't hurt. And then it started getting worse, and it started radiating to my back, which is a very bad sign. And then my left arm started getting numb and cold. And so I was just listening and not trying to pay attention to it because I was afraid that if I put more attention to it, it's gonna get worse. I'm gonna get more scared, and then I'm just gonna collapse, right? And then so after a while, I just told her, you know what, let's stop, check my vitals, right? So my blood pressure was really high, my heart rate was really high, and after that it went away, but the numbness and the tingling in my left arm was still there. So then we said, I just go to ER, just get it checked, right? So I go to a Rady Children's ER, just to get an EKG, everything's okay, but the doctor was saying that for the 30 minutes that I've been laying in bed with my eyes closed, my heart rate was like 102, which is not supposed to be with someone who doesn't have heart issues. So they transferred me to Sharp Memorial Hospital on a gurney. It was really embarrassing because here I am talking it up with the EMTs, not looking like I'm passed out. And so they transferred me there, and they did everything. But for the whole, I don't know, I was there until midnight. The whole time I was waiting, I said, I'm having all these thoughts, right? I'm 42, and I'm like, it's right about that time that I could be getting chest pains, right? And my dad passed away from heart attack. He's had several heart attacks. He died from a stroke. His dad died from a stroke. So I'm thinking, it's genetics, right? And my mom had colon cancer. I'm like, oh, they're gonna get a colonoscopy. Right? So all this fear is coming in. And so I can't erase the past, right? I can't erase what happened to my parents.
Yeah.
But what actually came to me at that time is like I'm living in fear, right? So regardless of what happened to them in the past, it can stop here. Right? So it stopped from me and also my brothers and their kids. But and then I was reminded of this. What's so funny also is they asked me, like, is there anything that's been stressing you out lately? And I was just like, and in my mind I'm like, my intern preach. So then he reminded me of this verse that basically I have this authority, right? Because what I was dealing at that time is not really, I don't know what's going on with me, right? Because I didn't have my blood works done yet. But basically I was in this fear that I was still carrying it on with me for the years and years and years. From when my mom passed away and my dad passed away. And just living in fear. And so basically, how can I even operate in something higher when I'm still holding on to that fear? And so God was saying to me, you need to get rid of this. And I'm thinking, please get rid of this. And I'm like, and then I remembered again about Moses, where he said, why are you praying? Lift up your rod. And so this is now I started saying, and remember the woman with the spirit of infirmity, where Jesus said to her, woman, thou art loosed from that infirmity. And then she was healed. And so then with me, then I basically just say, I'm the daughter of the King of Kings. I have this authority. I am a co-heir of Christ. I can do everything that He has. I have His authority. And I commanded the fear to go away from me. And from then, I don't have that fear anymore. So how do we know that we are aware if we even have authority? And that was my issue. It made me aware that I wasn't living in authority or even believing that I had authority because of what I was declaring and what I was thinking. And so the challenge for you today is whenever something comes your way, what is your automatic go-to? What is your automatic thinking? Because that could let you know if you have to practice your authority on whatever the devil throws at you.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
good.
it.
That's
I'm
good.
I'm going to end. Thank you.
Come on.